had a talk the other day with a friend of mine. Let's call her Diana, and she is living and working in Hong Kong. She is from Indonesia, and yeah, I wanted to catch up with her because we haven't been in touch for quite some while, for a couple of years. And she is a domestic helper, already working in Hong Kong for about 8 years, living together with a Hong Kong Chinese family, very small apartment, 450 square feet, father, mother and a 15-year-old daughter. So this is her life, 6 days a week, looking after the household, cleaning the apartment, cooking, cleaning, doing the groceries, staying basically all day long there in the apartment, doing nothing else than housework, you know, a typical maid job, a typical domestic helper job, like hundreds of thousands of other Filipinas and Indonesian girls are actually doing there. Yeah? Before I continue, I'm walking here again today in Malioboro Street in Yogyakarta, this time on the other side, and today is it's a Saturday. You can see already it's a lot of lots of crowds here because yeah, it's weekend, so people travel to Jogja. But I also don't know whether there is something going on here. Is there a special occasion? Is this a local public holiday? I have no idea, but anyway, it's interesting. So also for you guys to have a look, huh? How it looks like here, how the people are looking, what they're doing. But anyway, so chatting with Diana after a while was interesting because she opened up really quickly and dropped a lot of intimate private things on me, and this is kind of the topic also of today's video. Why Indonesian girls leave you dumbfounded from time to time, or why they even can surprise you with things, you know. The thing with Indonesian women is that if they really trust you or you know them better, then yeah, they open up pretty quickly. And this is actually the opposite to the image of Indonesian women, Indonesian people, Indonesia in general, right? Because, yeah. But of course it also depends on the personality, it depends on the character of the girl and also on her circumstances and background and personal history, right? I think it's I don't need to mention it, but I mention it anyway, is that also Indonesian women, they have desires, fears, anxieties, obviously, and also worries, you know. They have a life to live, they have a life to take care of, their personal lives, their family lives. But the situation in Hong Kong is special. It is different. And I have released a video about this last year. I think the title is something like Tough Life and Indonesian Girls Working in Hong Kong. I will link the video so you can watch it. In that video I explain a little bit more about really the tough life of these girls, you know. And because of their tough life, and actually my friend Diana, she, compared to other girls, she is relatively independent because the parents, I mean not her parents, but this Chinese couple is working full-time, so she and the 15-year-old daughter is going to school, so she is basically alone at home during the day. But I know other girls, I have other friends who, you know, they have to take care of elderlies or little children, they have to walk the dog, so that's way more stressful. But anyway, it's still enough pressure because Diana, you know, she has been away from her family for 8 years, and it's a very, very, yeah, it's not a simple life, but very also boring, dictated by a very, yeah, I don't know, boring routine, you know. And therefore these women have a lot of pressure to relieve. I've talked about this also in other video. Yeah. Let's talk about the perception management, the public image of Indonesia and the Indonesian women. You know, many people think and many people believe, because they have no clue about Indonesia. They are flying a lot of stereotypes, obviously around, you know, like with any other things, countries, nationalities, ethnicities, you know. And many people simply are completely ignorant of Indonesia. They have no bloody clue about the country. So therefore they think, oh, Indonesian women, you know, like you can see here in Yogyakarta when I'm walking down the street, you see a lot of Muslim people. You know, yeah, we are in central Java. This is a Muslim stronghold here. Yeah? But not all Indonesian people are Muslim. By the way, these Muslim people are very, very friendly. I will talk about this. Diana, my friend in Hong Kong, by the way, she is also a Muslim, a Muslima. And many people think, oh, these Indonesian women, oh, I better stay away from them because, you know, they're virgins. They won't have sex before marriage. They're very prudish, and they're just sitting in the room the whole day studying the Quran. So this is kind of an exaggerated version here, but you know, this is kind of the general perception of many Western guys of Indonesian women, right? Yes, Indonesia is a conservative country, a traditional country. I mean, it would be a shame, it would be so sad living in a country where there are no traditions anymore, right? And Indonesia is kind of course, dominated and influenced by Islam. But I tell you something, here in Yogyakarta, you know, before Islam came here, there was Hinduism. You can see it everywhere when you travel around the countryside, these Hindu temples and everything. Yeah? So Hinduism spread from India through Southeast Asia, yeah, all the way through Java, and then eventually arrived also in Bali. And Bali is a strong Hindu outpost, so to speak, where the religion is really dominant and still practiced. Here in Java, not anymore. It's all more Muslim dominated, but you also have Christians here, you know, Protestants and Catholics and stuff. So it is a traditional culture and society, yes, but therefore also you can understand that these people must have some pressure and suppressed desires. That cannot be any other way. Psychologically, of course, this is not healthy. Also not for the women, because they have desires and they want to live them out, but they are restricted by their culture and tradition. So this is kind of a double-edged sword. Yeah? Diana, my friend in Hong Kong, oh, she loved to talk about sex the other day with me. I was so really dumbfounded, you know. She was talking to me like somebody who is having a regular exchange, you know. So there you can see that, you know, she needs to relieve pressure. She has desires. She has no boyfriend. She works very hard. She is away from her family. She also has family problems. Many of these girls who come to Hong Kong have. Why they come to Hong Kong in the first place is because they come actually from a dysfunctional family background. Many girls are single moms, you know, divorced, widowed, husband ran away, I don't know what, is not responsible, so they need to take care of their baby or babies, you know, they need to finance themselves. And many of these girls are coming from East Java, you know, actually a very poor region still in some regards, so similar to Thailand, where most of the bar girls, for example, coming from Isan. Yeah, but okay, a bar girl and a domestic helper is a big difference. So yeah, and we discussed topics about sex and this and that. So he was absolutely not shy at all to discuss and talk about these things. And also we talked about other stuff as well. But I know many Indonesian women are open to discuss sex matters also, when they trust you, when they open up a little bit, even more than other women from even other continents, So that seems to be the exact opposite to the image we have of, or some other people have of Indonesia and Indonesian girls. Many people think, oh, they are so shy, prudish and passive. Yeah, they are shy and passive and maybe also prudish, but there's a lot of stuff going inside of these girls, and they need to take care of this. And this is what I have experienced when I lived in Hong Kong, the greatest fun I had with these Indonesian girls. So again, once they trust you and you know them better, they will become quickly open-minded, or in general you will figure out they are open-minded. There are really a lot of people here today. Indonesian girls actually are open-minded. They are a lot of fun to be with, to hang around with. Yes, they can get very naughty. That was my biggest surprise at the time when I was living in Hong Kong. But at the time I also didn't know much about Indonesia. I didn't know anything basically, so I was not really surprised. So Indonesian girls are great companions. I always enjoyed a great companionship with these women. They are adventurous. They are happy to try new things. They are enthusiastic and in general very positive, relaxed, positive energy. Not to mention all the other feminine traits and characteristics. So, long story short, my stories are always long, or short story long, Indonesian girls are actually very compatible to Western guys. Yeah, that might be a surprise for some of you, but this is the message also of my video here. Because of what I just have explained to you, I find them very compatible because they have all these open-minded traits, fun to be with, even naughty. Yeah, also very naughty in the bedroom, Oh man, I can tell you stories, but I won't. This great mix of this, open-mindedness, let's call it, and their feminine values, traits and characteristics. That's why I find they're actually, not only actually, they are really great companions and very compatible with Western guys. And I believe these Western guys who are married to Indonesian women, or not only married but also are in a relationship with them, they will confirm what I say here. Yeah. And one more thing I also want to tell you. This is my experience of now living and working and traveling around Southeast Asia for the past almost 20 years. Of all the Southeast Asian girls I've met, and I have met many, I have dated many. I lived and worked in Vietnam, in Thailand. I worked and lived in Thailand. I lived and worked in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in the Philippines. These are the countries where I lived and actually worked. Yeah? Not only travel and tourist. And of course I traveled to other countries in Southeast Asia. I traveled to Cambodia, I traveled to Laos, I traveled to Singapore, That's basically it. So I worked in most of these Southeast Asian countries. I lived there for many years. And of all these Southeast Asian girls, the Indonesian girls, in my experience and opinion, are the most fun to be with. And with fun, I don't mean just only sex. I just laid it out here for you what I include in the term fun. Yeah? Overall and bottom line, these Indonesian girls are great fun to be with, open-minded, great companions, relaxed, not shy to talk about very intimate things also. And yes, they are also naughty. I mean, sex is also important, right? You don't want to just get bored. These girls are also very adventurous in the bedroom. They are not shy to try new things. They're happy to try new things, you know, things like that. I don't think I need to go in more detail. They're absolutely not prudish. Yeah? And this is what shocked me at the time. Now I can compare better than before I met them, but that's what I'm saying. So these Indonesian girls are the most fun to be with when I compare them to even to Filipinas and even to, and I don't even want to talk about Thai girls. I don't have much experience with Thai girls. I had one relationship, but okay, that was nothing. Really boring. And yeah, so I got along very well with these Indonesian women. That's why I also do these videos. I know many guys are still hesitant and they cannot overcome their aversion for Indonesia or Indonesian women or people. But that's okay, you know. No problem. Southeast Asia is big enough. And Indonesia is also a big country, so there's plenty of women around. And maybe you are surprised now. Yeah, if that's the case, then I think it's good, because if you're not surprised, then I don't know what. But I'm glad that I could share these things in this video here about why Indonesian girls will leave you dumbfounded, or why Indonesian girls are always there for a good surprise, right? Anyway, checking out now, and thanks for watching. Here from Malioboro Street in Yogyakarta on a Saturday morning. Yeah, it is a morning. It's shortly after 9 o'clock in the morning here, and many people are hanging out here already. So let me know what you think. Do you have experiences with Indonesian women? Yes, no? Are you interested? I know some of you guys are interested. Some of you guys are about to travel to Indonesia. And all I can say is, you know, boots on the ground. I'm happy to answer all your questions. I'm happy to do all these consultations also, of which I do many. Many guys are interested to date Indonesian women, so you can reach out if you want to do a consultation. The email you can find in the description. Yeah, come here, boots on the ground, try it out. At the end, don't ask too many questions, paralysis analysis, right? Come here, try it out, have a look, stay at least 1 month, maybe travel to different cities and provinces and get a vibe, get a feel. And perhaps you don't like it at all. Okay, fair enough, at least you came here, you know. And then if Indonesia is nothing for you, then you move on to the Philippines or Thailand or to some other places, right? But give it a try. Overcome your prejudices and stereotypes about this country and people. And I tell you one more thing. Indonesia is so different than Vietnam, you know. These people are so different. In Yogyakarta is even more different, you know. I'm so happy to be here and not in Vietnam now. These Vietnamese people I personally cannot get along with. This is just what I say here at the end of the video. The Vietnamese people, for example, are so different than Indonesian people, but that's the way they are. I don't want to complain about the Vietnamese people. What I wanna say is that everybody has a different taste and experience, and I prefer the mentality of the Indonesian people. They are more open-minded, warm-hearted, in my experience. I mean, more outgoing, more welcoming also. I find these Vietnamese people just rude, loud and noisy a lot of times, Not saying that all Vietnamese people are like that. I'm generalizing here a little bit also because of my travel experience, but I'm kind of fed up with Vietnam now. I worked in Vietnam for a year. I traveled extensively the country in the past 5 to 6 years, but now I'm really done with the country. I'm over it somehow, for several reasons, but this is not now the time to discuss this. But anyway, it just came to my mind, such a big difference. These Indonesian people are so lovely, curious, relaxed, laid back, friendly and happy to see foreigners and welcoming, and no cheaters, no, I don't know, of course there are scammers also around, but these people here don't behave just as they want to get your money, But anyway, thanks for watching. See you in one of my next videos. Take care. Bye bye.